Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Man's World podcast. We're here to talk about anything and everything that deals with being a man living in modern day society. And on this show, we're going to cover some trending topics and things we ran into online and try to cover them and give some meaningful information to our audience. If you have any questions now or later, just type them in the chat. And with that, we're just going to kind of jump right into it. So let me share my screen here. Get the right one up. We got some doozies for you guys today. Okay. All right. So let's go here. All right. So you see here, we have an article, a Dear Annie article, and it says the person writing it says, the title is I'm just a supporting character in my husband's life. And she writes and says, Dear Annie, my husband and I have been married for 11 years. We've always had a solid partnership with no major issues. But lately, I've been feeling like I'm just a supporting character in his life. He recently started a new job that he's passionate about. And while I'm happy for him, everything seems to revolve around his schedule, his goals, his stress. I work full time too, and we have two kids. But somehow I've become the default parent and household manager while he gets to focus. When I try to bring it up, he says he's just under a lot of pressure and that it's temporary. But it's been almost a year. I don't want to keep score, but I also have goals of my own that I like that I feel like I'm sacrificing so he can pursue his. How do I bring this up again in a way that doesn't come off as resentful? And Annie replies, and this is her advice to this person, fading. She says, Your letter doesn't sound resentful, so just explain it to him the way you explained it to me. If you find yourself falling into the role of a household manager by default, you might consider a concrete division of labor. Map out a schedule together of who takes on what chores and make sure you both build in enough time to pursue your own projects too. So I find it very interesting that Annie, the first line, she says, Your letter doesn't sound resentful. However, as I don't know if it's just being a man or, maybe because we have more experience and can kind of read through between the lines, it sounds very resentful to me. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, it sounds not only resentful, but it also is a sign that these people will probably get divorced if they're not divorced already, or definitely will
Yes.
have some issues. I see it that way. Like she said, she's just a supporting character or just a household manager. These types of things coming from a wife is problematic.
Yeah.
Problematic. I like to use the term professional wife, right? And a professional wife, I mean, this is what they do. This is their wheelhouse. Wheelhouse. They are a supporting character, um, but it's not a lesser character. It's like for the quarterback to throw the ball, he needs offensive linemen. Otherwise, he can't do his job. Is
Yeah.
Are the offensive linemen blocking for him? Are they supporting him and to do his job? Yes, but it's more like he can't do his job without him, or his job will be extremely hard if
Mhm.
they weren't good at doing their job. The same way, if she's looking at herself as a supporting character, as in not getting the, as in she should be the main character or the
Mhm.
co-star, then this is where I see it as problematic.
Yeah, and of course we don't have all the information, but we try to, for ourselves and for our listeners, we try to train people to also pay attention to what's not being said. Because in the article, she mentions some key things that are lacking information to give a proper assessment of, like, I wouldn't even be able to give this person advice without knowing some more information. But like, for instance, that she has kids. So, okay, how old are those kids? That's the first question. Like, a person would put, I have kids that are teenagers. I have kids that are adults, like I have kids that are toddlers. So we need to know that. Two, she says I have a full time job too, which there's a bunch of questions I have about like, okay, well, is your money for yourself? Are you a significant contributor to the household finances? Or is this something you just do because, at some point you're like, I need something to do. I don't, I feel incomplete by just being a housewife. So I need a job. Like, what are the situations behind your job? And as far as like dividing household responsibilities and all these different things, yes, I guess that's something that could be looked at, but it depends on what the marriage is about. It depends on what the goal is. We talked a lot in the past about what is your family plan? What are the goals? How are you getting there? Are you working together to get there? And this is why it's very important. We have a clip to show you guys that if you're raising kids, it's very good to get them in some kind of team activity, right? Especially like in sports, because you learn a lot of almost everything we talk about. We can kind of bring it back to something we learned in sports, or we can compare it to a sports analogy. And I just want to play this clip just so you guys get an idea of or advice to this person who's fading away in her relationship or in her life. This is the advice that she should be have gotten from Annie.
Vernon just, it was something that I told everybody at the very beginning of the week. I will not tolerate players that think it's about them when it's about the team. And we cannot make decisions that cost the team and then come off the sideline and it's nonchalant. No, you know what? This is how I believe, okay? I'm from the old school. I believe this. I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else, rather than play with 11 when I know that right now that person is not sold out to be a part of this team. It is more about them than it is about the team. I cannot play with them, cannot win with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
This is one of my favorite all-time quotes. I'm not sure. I think I still got a echo. I'll try to fix that. But it's one of my all-time favorite quotes because it really sums up life in general and specifically marriages, family in general. You cannot have a successful team, and a family is really a team. A business is a team usually, uh, and you cannot be successful or as successful as your potential could be with without everyone putting all of their energy into the team, into the system, into the family. It's like this. If you have like this young lady on the Dear Annie thing, she feels like she's a supporting character. She's looking at her husband who got a promotion. He's increasing his ability to provide for the family. If he got a promotion, a new job, maybe it's a little bit more difficult, more stressful. He's really focused on it, and she's seeing that as, oh, I'm just a supporting character. I don't have anything to focus on. If she was looking at herself as a professional wife, his success, his promotion is her promotion. His stress and his being overwhelmed with his job is part of her stress and being overwhelmed. So she should be looking at how can I, the question to Annie should have been, how can I help my husband to not be as stressed or as overwhelmed with his job? Is there anything that I can do? Instead, she's like, the nigga's overwhelmed, but what about me? This is a sign that this person, at the very least, needs some help. But it's the type of person that will leave a good husband and a good man who's earning and providing because she doesn't feel fulfilled. You took a role as a wife, which is a supporting character. It's just like if you are drafted to a team and you are an offensive lineman, or you are a, the defender, the rebounder, or whatever. You can't be like, I want to shoot the threes. You know, your job might be to set the screen, and without the screen, no, he can't shoot. Without the offensive lineman, he can't throw the ball. And it's if you're not looking at the success of any member of the family as group success, team success, then you will be the reason that holds that family back, that holds that marriage back, that holds that team back. I'll just say this, and I'm sure you've been on a team with people like this before, right? Where you have a person who you're on a team, you're trying to win a championship or whatever, and you have a person who they maybe they say, well, I need to score at least 10 points and get 10 rebounds. I have to, or I want to get a triple double, or they have some sort of personal accolade or goal that they want to reach. So it's like a person, they have 9 assists, right? They want one more assist to make it to where they have a triple double. And instead, they are the person who's wide open. Maybe they have to take the shot, but instead of taking the shot, they'll hold it and try to find someone to pass it to. It's rare, usually the other way around, but they'll hold it, try to find someone to pass it to get that one assist, and it's detrimental to the team. And they're thinking about their team success, although, or you might wind up losing. I've seen a lot in this football season, probably more than any other season, where players have had an open path to the end zone. Touchdown is very clear, but it's the end of the game. If they take a knee right at the one, even though if they scored, their personal accolades were great. So and so scored a touchdown. But they stop and take a knee right before the goal because they're already winning. If they score, it still gives the other team a chance to win. If they stop and take a knee, then they can run out the clock. And that is an idea of how team success is more important than personal accolades. And so what you mentioned about every person should play team sports and involve themselves like that because you understand these types of things, you're spot on with that. And if more people understood how the team success is the group success, it's still your success. If they can understand that mindset, then it works in a family, in a business, and throughout life.
Yeah, now, and just to, if she would have written this comment or asked us this type of question, I would have went right at her. And like what Mark mentioned, she has some serious issues with how she's even framing all this, because based on how she formatted the question, she really brought out what she was actually really concerned about. What her real concern is that her husband has a new job that he's passionate about, right? She didn't mention anything about and then she brought up like, oh, I'm stuck doing the housework and all that. But her real issue is that he has a job that he's passionate about, right? And everything seems to revolve around him. Okay, that's what you're really upset about. And she's most likely has an issue with that. She hasn't found something that she's passionate about. So there's jealousy there, like, oh, I see he really into this, he really likes it. I don't have anything like that in my life, and I want that. So I want to take away from whatever he's having, right? In Islam, we call that hasad, right? That jealousy where you're jealous of the person and you want to actually take what they have and have it for yourself. So the advice to her would be to actually, okay, you need to find something that you're passionate about, and it'd be very easy if you can actually make your husband and your family what you're actually passionate about. That's a win-win right there, right? But maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's something else, maybe it's learning something else that actually helps the family as well. That's another win-win. But don't be jealous of your husband's passion and his success. And if you were really concerned about like, okay, everything's falling on me, this question would have been formatted like, I actually am falling behind. I can't keep up with all the extra work because he used to do 50% of the chores and now he's not, right? That would have been the lead, right? I'm doing all the work and my husband's not doing what he used to do. Then that's the conversation with your husband. Like, hey, I know you got this great opportunity, this great job, you're helping the family, but like too much is on me because I'm working full time and I'm doing all the housework. Can we adjust things? And it might be as simple as, yeah, well, guess what? I got this new job. You don't need to work no more. Who knows what that is?
Yeah, and
But
even if
and
you,
another thing I wanted to mention, it kind of segues into our next topic, is that even though she's feeling that she is the side character in her husband's life, I can almost guarantee you that her husband actually feels the same way and is happy about it, right? He's doing all this to make her happy because he feels like she's the star, her and the kids are the stars, and I'm here to support that. I'm the side character. I'm the role player. I'm going to go out, even though I found a job I'm passionate about, but it's really I'm making more money, and that's why I'm passionate about it. And I can have more, when you have a job that you actually like doing, it takes less energy from you. You can go to work and come back from home and not be like, oh, I can't do nothing with the family. I bet they're going out to eat more. I bet he's spending more quality time with his wife and his kids, but it's all for the family. He feels the same exact way. And we'll have more examples of some of the articles that come up where the man is actually, in 90% of the situations, is playing that side character in his mind because he wants to make everybody else in the household happy, and
yeah,
and he has no issues with it.
yeah, I would say real quick, a good rule of thumb is that, y- especially when you're, whether you're the man or the woman, or a son or daughter or whatever, within a group, within a family, you can never make your personal pursuits, your personal glory, your personal satisfaction and sense of fulfillment override the benefit that the family needs and depends on, and what is needed to make that family operate in its best way. That husband took on a bigger, a better, a more demanding job. Surely that comes with benefits, financial probably, for the family.
Hmm.
She's benefiting from that. So if her increase in workload in the house and feeling like it's just a household manager, that is the cost for the increase that he's getting from his job. So it's not like, now if it was a case where he's making more money but he doesn't pay any bills or something like that, this would be a different story, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because this is not mentioned there. So I just, before we move on, I would like to ask you, Dr. Griffin, about
Yep.
specifically the advice that Annie gave this lady. Where do you see where there's room for improvement as far as just the advice that she gave, where she just basically just tells her pretty short and sweet, but what do you think about the advice that she gave? Was it good enough, or is there some room for improvement?
I think she missed the mark totally because she gave her advice assuming that the problem is that she has too much work to do at home, right? Oh, just map out a schedule and then split duties and all that. She never actually said the work was too much. She just feels like, I just feel like now like I'm the one in charge of it. They could have a maid at home for all we know. Like we we don't even know, right? You're just assuming.
Yeah.
So she missed the mark on that, and she should have turned the lady to do some like self awareness exercise or something to look at herself. Why are you? Why is this causing you to feel this way? And
Yeah.
yes, you can still have the conversation with your husband, because if you're feeling a certain way, yeah, you should talk with your husband about that and see, where that goes. But as far as that second paragraph, right? If you find yourself falling into the role of household manager by default, one, she puts a negative spin on that. What's wrong with being the household manager by default? There's
Mm.
nothing negative about that. Then she basically saying, if you find yourself in that role, you need to fix this, right? By consider concrete division of labor. So now, not only are you're telling this lady who has a husband who's taken a more demanding job, a more stressful job, maybe it takes more hours, maybe it's more time, but obviously it's bringing in more income, right?
Mhm.
It's bringing in all, because it's a more, why else would he do it? Right? No one, no man's gonna go take. Oh, I love this job. It takes more hours, it takes more times, but you know what? It pays half the salary. I'm gonna go do it, honey. That's not reality, right?
Mhm.
He's taking more out of him. So not only, like you mentioned, is it taking more out of him, right? He has to pay more to get this return. It's requiring you as the wife to also do a little more, maybe, that he can't do because he's doing the thing that's bringing in more benefit, right? So if, for instance, if she has to, um, before he used to take the kids to basketball practice, right? That was his thing. Every time he come home, he take him to basketball practice all week, take him to the games. That was his thing. New job, he has to work 3 or 4 more hours a day. He can't take him to basketball practice no more. But he's working 3 or 4 more hours a day, right? So she naturally has to pick up that dropping the kids off at games, picking them up at practice and all that stuff. And now Annie is telling her, you know what? You need to write all this down, right? Put everything down and make a concrete split division of labor, right? Concrete that he has to stick to it, you have to stick to it, and that's what this is clearly going to lead to a divorce, clearly, right? The girl says, "I'm not keeping score." Then Annie says, "You know what? You need to keep score."
That's why I wanted you to highlight about her advice because it seems like she is, and this is one thing that people say a lot of times is that marriage therapists, as a profession, these professional marriage therapists, a lot of times they lead couples to get divorced. And a lot of times when
Yeah.
they are women, they're terrible. Their
Hmm.
success rate is very, very low, and they cause a lot of problems. And this is an example of a very, very poor um, piece of advice that can
Hmm.
just lead to trouble. I mean, there's not really anything what she said that would help the situation at all. You know, if they did a hard division of labor, they sat down and looked at who should do what, who can do what, who's doing this, therefore the other person should do that. It would probably wind up, she would wind up realistically, logically needing to do more than what she's already doing. It probably wind
Yeah.
up doing, and it happens like that a lot.
It's going to backfire.
Yeah, it probably would backfire. Or she would say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And then realize, man, this, what he's actually doing is a lot and it's harder, right? They'll be like, okay, well, I'll do that then,
Yeah.
and so the bottom line is don't let your personal pursuits get in the way of team success. That's number
Yeah.
one. Number two is, if you're going to be a wife, you're going to agree to be married, you have to first and foremost look at yourself as a supporting character for your husband. If not, that should be very clear up front.
Hmm.
I'm the breadwinner, or I am the straw that stirs the drink here. You're supporting what I'm doing because of the value that I'm bringing to the team, to the family. And if it's like that, it's, if someone agrees to get into that situation, that's fine, but it should be clear. So for the men, because hey, at the end of the day, this is man's world. For the men, you have to identify this type of person, if you can, and identify these types of scenarios ahead of time.
Yeah.
And this type of woman, don't marry them. Because you will see, and this young lady, and I know people that have lived through something like this, to where you look up, there will be a woman who will be very happy with the division of labor, very happy with a husband who's working hard and maybe working more but making lots of money, and they're very happy being a household manager or being a supporting character. Maybe they have their job or whatever they're working, because this lady said she's working full time too, but they're happy with supporting their husband, doing their own work or whatever. Maybe it gets a little hard, maybe it gets a little overwhelming in certain instances, but they're happy with that. And they have a good relationship, they have a good husband, they have a happy marriage. Meanwhile, women like this who have a good situation, they just want more. They want it, they want it to be more about them. They want the spotlight shown on them, or they want to feel a certain way about what they are doing. They want more outside recognition. And maybe the husband can do better at giving her some recognition, as far as, hey, I appreciate what you're doing, I know this is, that could be a thing. But women like this will ruin that relationship, thinking there's something better, or they will be more fulfilled about, doing things on their own or whatever, and wind up really sad, really lonely, and wishing that they had maintain that situation. Meanwhile, someone else will come in and be very happy with it and run with it, and take what you thought was insignificant or not fulfilling what you needed, and they're happily living happily ever after, and having, their dreams come true. Meanwhile, you're still, struggling and looking for some sort of success. So it's a cautionary tale.
You know, and just to so this next piece, we'll play the
Oh my
video,
god.
but it's an example of men usually fall in that role of being the side character in their wives or families' lives, and usually have no problem, and usually at a detriment to themselves. So we'll play this clip for you guys.
3 years with his best friend.
So if you missed it, she said she was committing adultery, cheating on her husband for 3 years with his best friend. So we'll keep playing it.
We had 2 kids, 3 and 6 years old. And he could have walked away.
I need to get
Should've
DNA on a
walked away,
3-year-old.
And when all this came out, and I hid it for 3 years in the church, when all of this came out, he looked at me and listen. A good therapist knows your feelings are valid and you can feel all of those things. He was mad. He was hurt. He was confused. He was disoriented. All those things were still true. None of that was underscored or not a part of his experience. But what was also a part of his experience, because he had been submitting and surrendering to the Lord so faithfully for so long.
I can't fast forward it to get to the best part. No, preacher
he
mode. Excuse
literally
us,
looked at
y'all.
me, and all I expected him to do was exactly what every man had done in my life, my dad, all these other men, was to leave. And instead, he looked at me and he said, "Casey, I don't know how to not love you." That is when.
Okay. So before we get into it, like, she just started rattling off red flags. Like, it might have been a video like, "Hey, tell me all the red flags in a woman." Like my father, like my brother, like my uncle. every man in her life has left her.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, this is bad for so many reasons. So she basically wrecked every relationship with every man, intimate relationships, family relationships, social relationships, whatever. Every man has bailed on her. And so this guy saying, "Oh, I don't know of any, I don't know how to not love you." It seems like she finally just found a sucker, really.
Yep.
And maybe that's the only type of person that will put up with her shenanigans. I mean, you're gonna blame, she's talking about the church and his best friend. Who can withstand something like that? You have a 3-year. Who knows if the kids are even his? I mean,
Yep.
but uh, for her to say this out loud is to me is wild. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I really can't fathom how she could say this and think there's any positivity or any lesson to be learned in a positive. I mean, there's a cautionary tale, but
Yes.
there's nothing good positive about it for her or him, really.
Well, let's go in our own little man's world multiverse. And in reality, I mean, this isn't true, but it's very possible that this is the same person that wrote that letter to Dear Annie.
Same type of
Because
energy.
you see the same, because look, okay, you cheated on your husband with his best friend, which is the only thing worse than that is to like cheat on your husband with a family member, right? Like your brother or something like that. Like you're one door down from like the worst thing that you could do. You do that, okay, whatever. He forgives you, takes you back, doesn't leave you, whatever. Now you're so concerned about yourself being the star of your own show that you go on a podcast in front of millions of people and continue to embarrass your husband that, yeah, I cheated on this dude for 3 years and he still took me back. And this is why I'm such a good Christian. Like that's the moral of the story.
I
You
mean,
know,
is there any scenario in your mind where you could think this same thing happens and you could tell a person, yeah, stay with her, forgive her, take her back, or any of the things that appears that what he
so
did? Is there any scenario where you,
as a person who has actually been cheated on by a spouse and made the mistake of taking them back, absolutely there is no circumstance where you should take that person back without having a plan, because there could be some situation, like say you're legally married and you want to be strategic, we'll talk, that's a whole nother thing, but
Mhm.
just point blank plain, so you should not take that person back. There should be a separation. Now, possible maybe in the future things change, there could be some kind of, reunite, maybe that's a whole different discussion. But right there, when a woman cheats on you, and there's different reasons why men do it, and what, forget the reason he told her, because I don't know how to not love you, right? I'm pretty sure that's not the exact reason why he kept her. I'm pretty sure there's
Mhm.
other things that go on for, like, we have kids, we're legally married, I make a lot of money. Like, there could be a lot of different factors of why he decided to keep her, right? But in general, you should not stay with a woman that cheats on you. There's no scenario in which that would benefit you to stay with that person, unless it's for a temporary situation to protect yourself when that separation does occur.
Mhm. So let me ask you. So I think we can already establish that best friend that was cheating with his wife, they can't be friends anymore.
Right.
That's just not possible. Let's just assume that he has,
Unless it's in the church.
yeah, it might have been the pastor,
Pastor buddy.
you know, baptizing his girl every week. Anyway,
Yep.
so let's assume that that's not part of it.
Hmm.
His statement of "I don't know how to not love you." Do you think, or what is your thoughts on a man who, yeah, all this stuff is true. Yeah, she cheated or whatever, but I just love her. I mean, he doesn't care. He like, is that,
The thing,
go ahead.
we need, if we could take a word and just like eliminate it from language, love has to be like one of those words,
Mhm.
because it absolutely does not mean anything in reality, right? It means something different to every single person, but so many people just like, it's kind of like, you talk to your kids and like say like they've done something, or you're trying to have like a meaningful conversation with them, when they're like all the way up to like they become 20s. When you ask them questions that actually requires them to give a meaningful answer or give some thought into it, what's their response? I don't know. That's the equivalent of love. Like, I don't really have an answer for like what you're asking me, so I'm just gonna say, like, well, I love this person.
Mhm.
Okay, but whatever. I digress. Whether you love somebody or not, and no matter how much you love them, that actually is a separate issue with when you're talking about forgiveness, reconciliation, and living real life,
Mhm.
right? Because you can love somebody and be like, you know what, I love them, but you know what, you're not going to be involved in my life anymore.
Mhm.
Very simply, right? So anybody that's on this thing, I love this person. Well,
Mhm.
guess what? You could love a person and they could die. God isn't anybody, well, he loves her a lot, I got to keep her on earth. Nope, she could die. And you got to figure out how to live on without her, right? You could love this person, and you know what? She could leave you for your best friend that she was been sleeping with for 3 years. And that's actually his kid that you've been raising, right? It doesn't change anything.
So let me give the counter argument, because
Okay.
believe it or not, and you probably have seen this. I think I remember some situation before with some people who have taken back some wives that had done that, ran off, lived with another guy, tried to marry another guy while he was married, didn't take him back,
Yep.
baby please come back type of thing. So we've seen this type of thing. something similar, but I would say that number one, there's a hadith where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, one of his companions came to him and said, he said, my wife does not turn away or does not reject the hand of any man who approaches her. Basically, she's
Yeah.
free use type situation. And so Rasulullah SAW told him, then divorce her. He said, but I love her. Basically, but I'm kind of sprung. And so he said,
Yeah.
then keep her. So that's an example of where you do have some people that, whether it be the lifestyle, intimately, person to person, physical relationship, or whatever, they really don't want to give that up, and they would prefer that woman not being like that.
Yeah.
But there is a thing where you have some men like that. So I would say, even though we know by some examples that we know of, we know people that are still desperately pursuing their exes or whatever when they're already married to other people. So we have to be real. There are men who have this type of energy where maybe they have that type of mindset where I just don't know how to not love you, and they just want to be with her. That woman is part of his psyche, his identity, his aura, his personality is built into him being with her. His pride or whatever it is has to do with her. So now that we know that these are these type of people, and you're not going to stop it from happening, I don't think. So
Right.
what
That's
would the
the main
advice
thing.
be to a person who, okay, you are this type of person,
Mhm.
he's not going to give her up. he,
Right.
he will put up with this type of madness in perpetuity. What advice would you give him to at least manage the situation to where it's not detrimental to him? I personally believe that eventually the woman will run off with someone who she finds better fits anyway.
The preacher.
But
Yep.
if the man
Preacher's
is
getting
going
there.
to go down this hole, what advice would you give them to manage the situation to where they don't wind up, for lack of a better term, just butt naked?
So here's what I would say. One, you hit it right on the head when you say that it doesn't matter what we say to the person, right? We tell them, you need to leave this girl alone, whatever. There are people like that, and we have to acknowledge that. But the first thing I would say to that is that it doesn't matter what advice we give them, they're not going to follow it. That's the first thing. So like, our show isn't for you, dude. Like if you've been cheating on, and we say, and your friends or your family or whatever, people close to you say you need to leave her, and maybe you're feeling like, oh, but I really love her, but you actually are like, but I need to consider that this person's advice, there's a chance for you that our advice will work for you, right? But if you're hearing this and like, this person's cheated on me and I'm staying with her because I love her just so much, then okay, go ahead and do that. But like, as far as like practical advice, if you're going to put yourself in that situation, if you are that type of person, don't get legally married, don't tie up finances, don't do all these things that's going to, like Mark said, leave you butt naked, that when she does eventually leave you for somebody else, right, that you're not in a situation. But I can tell you that if you're that person listening right now, you're not going to do any of that, because if the person can go have sex with your best friend and you're willing to accept that, and then you go back to her and say, hey, I want to split our bank accounts, she's going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. And you're like, oh, okay. And you're going to be like, hey, honey, I want to do X, Y, Z to protect myself. She's like, no, you don't. Oh, okay. You're going to be open. It's pretty much like dealing with a crackhead, right? They're just letting the crackhead just come live in your house. They're actively on crack, and they're going to steal your TV. They're going to steal your identity just to go buy some crack. And you're just like, yeah, just keep coming. Open door policy, because I love you. Keep coming back in. So I wouldn't even waste my time giving that person advice besides saying, all right, have fun. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have another, because, and we're just going to make all these people are the same lady that wrote the letter in the beginning. Right?
Yeah.
She divorced the first husband that had a good job and married this sucker at the church. She went to the church, got saved, found this guy. But then This is the guy's best friend that she married, right here. so, so, so she went and got with this guy who, I'll just kind of cut to the stories that they get together, married, and they get a house. They rent a house together, right? And this man's been paying rent for 10 years, paying rent, taking care of the bills, going to work hard every day, paying the rent. But then he finds out that the person he's actually been paying rent to was his own wife that he's currently living with in the same house that he's paying rent for. So not a mortgage, not anything. He's paying his wife money for a house that she owns unknowingly, and then he falls in a coma, a 3-day coma, just from the shock of it. And this this is the types of situations that, and like from this, you can infer a lot of things. And then I'll let Mubarak kind of chime in. Because he was paying the rent or paying money to his wife, unknowingly paying the rent, this means that he was getting his check and giving the money to his wife to deal with all the finances. He actually didn't know where the money was going. Again, going back to that first Dear Annie article, where he was actually being the supporting character of his wife and his family. I'm just going to go to work, even though I don't want to, every single day, work overtime, do all these things, so I can pay this rent and we have a place to live. Meanwhile, that money was just going right into his wife's pocket, who was still probably saying, I need money for this. You need to do this. We're going to get evicted. You better do this. And she's the one that has all the money. Crazy.
I mean, this is an example. I mean, from this, I can infer, and Allah knows best, but this is a person who his wife does not love him or respect him or trust him.
Mhm.
One or all of the three. Now, this is a future show that we talked about before, but we definitely got to put it on the schedule, and that is
Yeah.
the open book policy or the open book methodology you said versus the closed book, right?
Right.
And so we'll have to do that at a later time. But this is one of the, I would say maybe the downsides of, not having open finances and knowing everything. How his wife owned the house, and he didn't know that she owned the house. Period. Anywhere, let alone the one that you're living in and paying rent. I mean, that's wild. That shows that she really has her own thing, just like the first lady in the Dear Annie article. She had her own goals. She had her own, uh, idea of what success and what she wanted to do, and that included having a rental property and using her husband, using her husband as as a source of income. So my question to you, Dr. Griffin, is that, I mean, and we've all rented properties before over the years or whatever.
Right.
So if you were renting a property for 10 years and you just happen to see the bill or some sort of document, hold up, the person that owns this house is Miss Griffin. You own it. So I mean, what would be your response, and what would you think about if this situation happened to you?
So the first thing you got to do is you have to come home and tell your wife, I got laid off from work. That's first step. Say you got laid off from work. Don't quit your job. You got to stay at your job. Then every day for as long as you possibly can, go out and look for a job. But you're going to work, okay? And you got to be very slick about it so you can't get caught. And do that for as long as possible. For the first or 2 months, he's like, oh, the landlord's calling. He said we're going to get evicted or whatever. Like, yeah, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing my best. You know what I mean? Do that for as long, and you got to stack your checks. You got to stack your checks, okay? Now, if you're legally married, then once you stack your checks, okay, and you make sure that you have that nice little bank ready, because you're good. Basically, we're leading toward it before. You're going to leave this lady. Definitely going to leave this lady, okay? But if you're not legally married, before you do any of that, you got to go get legally married. That's actually step number one. Go get legally married. Then say you got laid off, go to work, stack your money. Then when she actually finds out, or it's like whatever comes out, then file for divorce. So now you're gonna have your cash money ready to like your exit plans ready, and you're gonna actually you might end up with the house at the end of the day.
I did not expect that. But hey, listen, hey, if the game is gonna be played like that, then
hey, yeah, you gotta play it, right? Right? They playing, you gotta play. You're on the court now. You just gotta, you know what I mean? It's like one of those movies they come up with, like they throw you in like a dungeon or whatever, and like everybody's gotta survive. You win the game, you gotta play it. You otherwise you gotta play it.
Anything goes, man. Okay.
It's a sad situation, but it's sad, but this is what men deal with, and this is why we put out this content is because, I mean, the line, if you want to ever ask us like, why did you guys start doing this? Our consistent line is always going to be because we're tired of seeing so many men taking L's all over the place, right? And here's another example of a man taking an L, and I mean, it seems silly, but this is what happens. This is not even in America. It's in Turkey. But a man was jailed. A husband, not a man. A husband was jailed because in his phone, he saved his wife's number as Chubby. So whenever she called or texted, it didn't pop up like, wifey, dearest, beloved, cupcake, or whatever. It popped up as Chubby. Like, basically, he had a chubby wife, right? She took him to court. He got fined. He had to pay money, and he went to jail because of insulting a person. It seems silly, but I mean, this is the type of stuff we have to deal with in our society today. That a man's wife took him to court, got him fined, and got him thrown in jail because she's fat. I mean, come on. You can't make this stuff up.
I mean, let me play the other side. I can understand that. Let's just assume that the husband is like, one of those husbands where the wife is like, hey, do I look fat in this dress? And he's like, oh no, you look great, baby. And he's one of those. Okay, so how she found out what her name was in his phone, she probably went looking through his phone, which she shouldn't have done. But let's just assume that she happened to find out, in a perfectly, legit, normal, not scandalous way or whatever. I can understand her being hurt by that. If this is the first time, she's like, "Wow, that's what I'm named." I can understand that. But the going to jail part, no, that's definitely over the top. But I'm willing to bet that he has at least hinted and tried to encourage her to, do something about being chubby. It is something that you cannot overlook. It is like part of the job. Now, if you have a husband that just, he might not mind him, he might like you chubby, then that's fine. It's no issue. And I think that even if you're making some effort, even if the results are not there, you're not in this great, wonderful shape, but you do, you go for walks and you try to, lift weights or do some exercise or whatever. I guarantee you probably wouldn't be listed as chubby in the phone. If you're literally just doing chubby activities, you're sitting around, you're not active, you're not working. If you have a wife that's working, I mean, she's going out and working. I mean, she might not have the time to, exercise as much as someone who's just a housewife. A housewife who doesn't work. And maybe the amount of kids that you might have if you're homeschooling them or something like that, you may have limited time, but if your husband is like, hey, you need to work out, you should find 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day to do some sort of activity. If you do that, I guarantee you, your husband will be okay with whatever, your fitness level is. But if you're just like, I'm chubby, I'm fat, I don't care. I mean, a woman once told her husband, yeah, I'm fat. So what? It's not her. I'm not killing anybody.
Kill yourself. Oh man.
And so I mean,
And just
you
a
gotta
little
at least put
advice
some effort in there.
yeah, put some effort into it. And this is for men and women. Like realistically, you can get away with a 15-minute workout a day. And if you go hard, and you're doing the right things, like you'll be good. Combine that with just not eating way too much, you would be fine. 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes. If you have it mapped out, you have 2 exercises, you do a few sets, heavy weights, you'll be good. So it doesn't take that much of an effort. And rolling on to another man who actually, tried to get his wife to make an effort. And this is what usually happens, unfortunately.
Physically, I'm attracted to Nicole, but it's not like, just like, for example, 55%. Because I always want my wife to go to the gym with me and be healthy.
But are you attracted to me no matter what?
I love you. Just please, let's go to the gym together.
But are you attracted to me no matter what?
Yeah, exactly. Physically,
So you see here that Nicole and Azan, he's trying to get her to work out. He's trying to be nice and saying, yes, I'm physically attracted, 55% still attracted to her, whatever. She hits him with the, are you attracted to me no matter what? I think there's a little bit of language difficulty or barrier there, because I believe in his mind he was trying to say, like, I still love you, right? But I'm not attracted to you. That's really what was going on here. And she's saying, you need to love me no matter what. Doesn't matter. And it goes down to this whole topic of, is there such a thing as is it unreasonable for Nicole to expect unconditional love?
It's unreasonable. I mean, if it was so this is the thing. There's no such thing as unconditional love. You love people based on some conditions. When the conditions are right, you love. When the conditions are even better, you love them more. When the conditions change, then it's likely to change how much or if you love them at all. So for her to be saying, even if she would have been at least closer to being right, if she was saying, well, would you love me no matter what? And now you could have some argument there by saying, well, marriage is not just about appearance. It has to do with a lot of other things. But he was talking about attractiveness. And so she was saying, are you going to be attracted to me no matter what? Attraction means that you see something or you feel something and it attracts you towards them. If your body is repulsive instead of attractive, how could you expect someone to be attracted to you no matter what? Now, if you say you love me no matter what, maybe I'm not as attractive as I used to be. I gained weight, or I got sick, I lost my hair, I got smallpox. Whatever it might be. Now, that situation, you love me no matter what. Listen, I've lost some attractiveness due to some factors that I can't control. That's different, and that would be a fair question for her to ask. But still, there's a chance that, hey, no, he can say no. But that's a fair question. That's a fair hope for her to have. Even if I lost my beauty, would you still love me? All right. But for her to just be like, well, you should be attracted to me no matter what. The answer is no. And no man should really accept this type of question. He should immediately push back. Now, this guy, Azan, probably is in a different situation because, hey, let's just be real. Maybe he needs a green card. Maybe he wants a citizenship. Maybe, and so some people, they see a white woman of any caliber, of any shape, size, or age sometimes as the holy grail, or you've got a trophy or whatever, which maybe he fell for a little bit of that and realized, wow, okay, she's kind of cute, but man, she's huge. And so he's thinking, maybe I can fix this one, and turn her in, because she probably would be a pretty attractive woman if she got herself in shape. And that's probably what he was thinking. But for the most part, the thing is, men should not accept this type of push back. Once you relent on that area where you come off your square and you're to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, I'll be attracted to you no matter what, then you know what's gonna happen? She's gonna do whatever. And she's gonna expect no matter what for not just her attractiveness, but for her behavior, for her conduct. Maybe she starts cheating on you. Well, you said you're gonna love me no matter what. You're gonna be attracted to me no matter
Yep.
what. It's the same. This woman from the Dear Annie to the church to the church whore or whatever. These are all the
Yep.
same type of energy. They want unconditional, acceptance for whatever they look like, whatever their behavior is, their financial indiscrepancies, and all these things. But you will not be afforded the same thing. So hold your ground. No, I won't be attracted to you no matter what. You need to maintain a certain standard because out of respect and love and attractiveness for me, and then I will reciprocate. But it's not unconditional.
Yep. And I like how you pointed out that she's not even asking for unconditional love. She's asking for unconditional attractiveness, which is even so ludicrous compared to just asking for unconditional love. And I mean, it's, as you can see, there's like a theme here. You have the lady from the Dear Annie article who wrote that article, and she was she was married, but then she started cheating on her husband, right, with his best friend for 3 years because she couldn't find something that could fulfill her need to be appreciated or be the center of attention. They ended up getting divorced, and she married another guy that because she got the house in the divorce because he had that good job, and then he was good. She got the house, and then she got another husband that she rented it out to without him knowing. And then he found out. The way he found out is because it was a divorce and they had to declare their assets. She had to show that she actually owned the house that he's been renting. Right? She got divorced again. By this time, it's like a third or fourth marriage. So what does she do? She goes on 90-Day Fiance, finds someone overseas, but she posts her high school picture up when she used to be that skinny little hot thing. But she went through 3-4 divorces, and she put on about 130 pounds. Got married, he got his green card, but he's like, whoa, this ain't the person on the Facebook pic. What's going on? Right? And now he's trying to get her in the gym. And it's just another example of, as Mubarak said, like these type of characteristics like are all kind of related, and they all follow the same type of person around. So the quicker you can identify these things, the quicker you can save yourself from getting, stuck with something like this where you have to deal with this. I mean, it's very clear that this guy is not attracted to her, right? He says 55%. That means if he's sitting in a room by himself and when we're talking about attractiveness, we're talking about sexual attractiveness, right? And he's feeling the urge, right? So he has 55% of him is saying, yeah, go satisfy that urge with her. And 45% of it is telling him, yeah, just don't satisfy it at all. Right? So that's a very close margin. And he's being nice. He's not attracted to her. And with this thing about unconditional, there's different things. And this is a problem women have with not understanding that men and women are different, right? And men have the problem too. So when we're talking about attractiveness, a lot of women can be attractive by things that, like, when you line them up like top things that make you attracted to a guy. So a lot of women, physical might be lower on the list. Whereas for men, physical is going to be always a lot higher on the list. So a woman could be sexually attracted to a man just because he's charismatic, because he's funny, because he's successful, because he has a lot of money, all these different things. And like, it don't matter what he looks like. She's like, yeah, I want this guy, right? Where a man, 9 times out of 10, he's going to mention something physical nature, hair, eyes, body, whatever. Then it gets down to like the non-physical things like attitude and all that. As we get older, those shift a little bit, but physical is always going to be like in the top 3 at some point. So she's not realizing that she's married to a man who values physical qualities as far as his attractiveness goes. And she, like Mubarak said, she should be making an attempt to be attractive to her husband. Just like men should be doing the same thing for their wives, make an attempt to be attractive to your wives. A lot of times we make the mistakes like, yeah, and I say it all the time as a joke. They're like, yo, why don't you do this or do that? Like, man, I'm married already. But it's more of a joke, but still, sometimes us men take that mantle up like, yeah, I could gain 30, 40 pounds. I don't got to work out. I don't got to dress nice. I don't got to smell nice. I don't got to do any of that because, man, I'm married already. And just a little sidebar for the women out there, if your man is like that, and then all of a sudden he's not like that, and you're fat like Nicole, guess what? There's somebody else out there.
Absolutely. That was just to add to this. It was a clip I was gonna add, but I was like, it's a little bit too spicy. But just in general, what happened was the lady said she was going through a divorce. Okay, so she wasn't even fully divorced yet, but so they had
Yeah.
agreed to the divorce, and while the divorce is still getting finalized, she decides that she's gonna go dating or whatever. She meets a guy. They go to her house or whatever. Long story short, when the guy actually saw how she looked, her actual body, because usually they
Yeah.
have profile pictures or whatever. When he saw her actual body in person, he literally stopped, said, "You're just not attractive to me at all," and he left. And the
Oh
lady's telling
wow.
this story. Basically,
Yeah.
he saw her and was like, "Ugh," like
Yeah.
this is gross. Like, I'm not attracted to this at all. I can't even perform. And he
Yeah.
left. And she told the story of what happened to her. And it's like, so she was married. She files for divorce because she thought she was going to find something better. And so one of those things is that may be some of what this woman, Nicole, they get in this idea. Yeah, your husband who has maybe been with you for a while or whatever, he gets used to, or because of everything else with the marriage, your attractiveness may not be there at all, but he loves you because of the time spent, the whatever it might be. If you take that for granted and think, well, everyone should, you know, also, uh, have that same sort of type of attraction to me. No, what she realized very quickly is that some guy who wasn't emotionally attached to her at all, didn't know
Hmm.
her, didn't have that time spent, maybe children together, whatever makes people, yeah, that cohesion that you come together with, none of that's there. It's just purely your attractiveness versus do I want it or not. And he
Yep.
literally saw her and said, I don't want that, and left. So that's something that women should think about as well. Sometimes you think, well, I can get sex from men because my husband wants sex all the time. It could be that you're the only person he's allowed to do it with. Therefore, it seems like you're just hot stuff. You might
Yep.
not be at all. And so that's an example where, if you're the only thing, you look really good. But you
Yep.
get into the situation where people have options, you might be one of those options that people don't choose. And so that's a cautionary tale.
Husband and wife. Here's some advice for husbands and wives. You can go to your partner and ask them, "What made you fall in love with me?" You ask the same question for attractiveness. What made you attracted to me? And then ask the same question in present tense. Why do you love me? Why are you attracted to me? Now, if you get to the present tense and they're still speaking in the past tense, that means you don't have those things anymore. Right? And
That's deep, man.
yeah, so like that means, okay, like I love you because you had that. And that means the person actually doesn't really love or is attracted to who you are right now. Right. And especially when we're talking about love, um, a lot of people, that love is a thing that where an attachment grows, and it's more like, it's not even love, it's more like loyalty. Right. You, like, for instance, we've been married for 20 years. Why do you love her? Because we've been married for 20 years. Because we've been through a lot. You love all the memories. You love the things that used to happen and all the sentiment and all that comes with that. But if you took all those things away, which in fact they already are taken away because they're memories, that person standing in front of you today, if you met that person right now on the street, you wouldn't be with that person. So that's a sign that if you are that husband or wife, that your significant other is speaking in the past tense of why they loved you, why they were attracted to you, and there's not much of the present tense or that past tense list is more than what they currently love you for or attracted you for. That means you have some work to do,
Yeah.
because you always want the person that you're going to be with to love you or be with you, be attracted to you for who you are now.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps you honest, it keeps you working, and it'll improve yourself and it'll improve the relationship.
Yeah. And like we had mentioned before, because I know some women probably might hear this and think, well, they can look in the mirror and they see that even to themselves personally, like, you know, I don't look as good as, or I'm not as attractive as I was 20 years ago. Then, gravity sets in or whatever. I tell people all the time, you should look at yourself without any clothes on, on a regular basis, at least once a week, and take an honest assessment and say, hey, let me just try to make a little improvement here or there. But for the most part, some women will hear what we've been saying and think, well, I am not as attractive as I was 20, 25, or however many years ago. And that is true. You have an epidemic of where people are getting these facelifts now and all these different things, trying and struggling to look younger. They look different, but they don't actually look younger. They just look different.
Yeah.
They look
Yeah.
like an old person who got some plastic surgery. And now you could say that they look. Some people might say they look better. They do not look younger though. They do not look
Right.
younger. I don't see them as being more attractive because they look fake.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you are going to age like I won't say age like a professional athlete, but you have to look at it like a professional athlete and how they build a certain legacy, and then your attractiveness, the residue. I don't say residue. That seems like a like a bad word, but the energy that you have built up. Like for instance, like we say, Michael Jordan, he has not touched. He's 60 years old. He hasn't touched a basketball, and who knows how long. He probably has not played a game of basketball in probably 10 years. I saw a
Mhm.
clip of Jordan shooting a free throw, and he was like, "Man, I haven't picked up a basketball in so long." And for some of us, like, man, you like is he? It's not part of his life anymore. But
Right.
if you ask anyone in the world that knows basketball, that hey, Michael Jordan wants to play a game of 3-on-3 or whatever around the world, 21 or something. There's not a person, maybe some professional athletes like, man, I ain't playing with Jordan. But for the most part, you are not going to find a single person who would not love to just shoot around, even if you just shooting a little bit with Michael Jordan. Why? It's
Yeah.
because of the legacy that he built over those years, so where he doesn't have to jump from the free throw line anymore. People still want to play with him, even though he can't even play no more.
Yeah.
So similarly, for the woman who has put a lot of time and effort in her legacy with her husband, is that she's raised his kids, or she supported him, and she was that supporting character in his life for however many years, and his success was her success, and she was just as happy for him to reach new heights in his education or in his career, in his earnings, or whatever it might be, and she celebrated that with him. I don't want to say just completely regardless of what she looks like, but as long as there's some general, effort there, he's still going to be as attracted or even more attracted to her physically and emotionally as she gets older. So she may be 60 years old, not even close to what she looked like at 20. But the infatuation that he has with her and the love and attraction that he has her is still going to be on the peak. Why? Because of the legacy that she built up. And now she doesn't have to, look drop dead gorgeous, and when she walks by, he's just like drooling or whatever. She doesn't even have to have that no more. It's because of everything that she did before. So
Yeah.
for the women, you have to look at it like that. You're building a legacy with your husband to where you won't have to be that hot shot. But if you throw that all away and start over from scratch, that new person is not going to have any of that equity that you built into that other relationship. You started from scratch. And
Mhm.
just like the lady who, she got naked and thought, well, come on. And he was like, oh, because it's just that attractiveness, and that's not enough to keep that attention. It's not going to work every time. So I hope that's clear what I tried to explain there.
Yeah, and just bringing it full circle back to the lady that wrote the Dear Annie article. Um, if you kind of fast forward through that relationship where she's not concerned about building a legacy, being there for her husband and her family when he's going through this new thing to help improve the family and all that, and following Annie's advice as far as just keeping score, making a sheet, documenting who does what, right? Eventually, it's gonna get to a point where she's older or whatever, if the marriage lasts that long, where she's now made her relationship very, built on, okay, you do this, I do that. And then if she's not meeting that physical attractiveness goal anymore for him, he's like, okay, well, I could get somebody else that does to come in and do the same checklist that you do. So, you weren't here to try to support me through the building this legacy. You were worried about you being a main one and being the main character. Well, you know what? I can go get another character to fulfill this role. So with that, we're gonna actually end on, we want to, as everybody knows, what happened with Charlie Kirk. So we wanted to just highlight a tribute that was made to him. He's a political commentator, and everybody knows about, Charlie Kirk. They're giving out awards to his wife and all this weird stuff that's going on. So to support that tribute, this young man made a singlet, right, for wrestling. What's more American than wrestling, right? American wrestler, made a singlet of Charlie Kirk with his face on his front and his face on his back, in tribute to him. And he wrestled, and he lost in 30 seconds. So that the amount of time that it took me to build up to that, he would have already lost the match. So our tribute, this guy tried to put a tribute to Charlie Kirk, but instead in the wrestling match, he actually got kirked.
I mean, this is probably the guy who got cheated on by the church wife and then took her back. This is it.
Yes, it is. We connected all the dots. The thing is, right? It's stuff nowadays is so manufactured, right?
Yeah.
Like just the social media and how it just really has changed society, where this guy who's a racist, clear racist, and among other things, but he's this national hero already, and people are, kids are putting his face, and it was probably more his parents that did this to this kid. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're a parent, you probably knew your kid sucked, so he's gonna lose in less than 30 seconds. But hey, right?
Yeah.
Karma,
Hey,
I guess you
listen,
could say, right?
it made me think where this person actually hates Charlie Kirk, and they knew that they were gonna get killed in the rest of the match. So that's the way I'm saying they don't like him. I don't know. I cannot see a scenario where this makes any sense. To put another man's name and face on your clothing is, to me, it's ridiculous. Like, I can't even.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people, they wear basketball and football jerseys or whatever, but for me, I'm like, sorry, I'm not wearing another man's name on my back. I'm good. Now it's my son or a family member who's playing or whatever. Hey, this is our nephew, this is our cousin, this is our dad, our son. Yeah, that's different. But I mean, I'm not just walking around with
That's what I'm saying. So like it's one is different when you have, there's pre-made stuff out there in stores and stuff with, LeBron James or whatever professional athlete, and you're going to play basketball, so you buy these sneakers, you buy this jersey because you want to play like this person. Your parents had to pay for this. They went to somebody to go design this. So like your parents did that, right? It wasn't like it was like hanging up in Dick's or the sporting goods. Like, get your Charlie Kirk singlets here, right? They're moisture wicking and all. Like, no, right? He's a political guy, and you wanted to put him on your singlet, and you understand this more as, like you mentioned, when you become adults. It's like, why am I putting anybody's name on me at all? right? Why am I doing that? Like, why, especially another man, his face on my kid's body. Like the dad got, I could only imagine what the the dad is that allowed this to freaking happen. He's probably got a single mom, but well, it's crazy. It's crazy, and to lose in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah, you probably should have saved it at least. You should have saved it for a match you thought you could win. Maybe this guy probably don't win no matches.
that was his highlight. That was his highlight right there. Just putting that out. So that's it for this week, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, type them in the comments, and we'll see you guys next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay.